Good afternoon, class. So today is another session of post-UTME and foundation mathematics class. So today we'll be treating the topic equations of a line. So before we start, I'm going to do a quick brief on what we mean by equation of a line. So let's take, for example, we have this line. So equation of a line simply means trying to calculate the or trying to get the x and y points of a particular line on the plane. So what do we mean by a plane? The plane is there are two types of plane. There's the three-dimension plane and the two-dimension plane. But for this class, we're working on the two-dimension plane. So the two-dimension plane has the y-axis and the x-axis. All right. So when we say the equation of a line, what we are trying to do is we are trying to represent a particular line with an equation based on the position it is on the x and y plane. So what do I mean? Let's say I have a line this way, and I want to calculate or I want to write down the equation of this particular line, this line here drawn out. What I need to do is I need to calculate what I'm trying to do is I'm simply representing this line in form of an equation with respect to its position on the x plane and y plane. So what does that mean? How far this line is from the x-axis and how far this line is from the y-axis. So now let me say I'm taking a point on this line. All right, I'm taking a point on this line. So what this means is at this point, this particular point on this line is a number away from x-axis, and it's also a particular number away from x-axis. So let me try and number this. So let me say this is 1, this is 2, this is 0, this is 1. So this particular point here is 2, 1. The point the point or the point on this line is 2, 1. That is, it's 2 units away from the x-axis and then 1 unit away from the y-axis. So that's what we mean by equations of a line. So now if I want to write the equations of the line, there are 4 forms of equations of a line. There is the slope-intercept form. There is the 2-point form. Okay, so I'm going to write it down. The slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form simply means there is both the slope and the intercept in it. So the equation is y equals to mx plus c. So what do we mean by slope-intercept form? M is the slope or gradient. YC is the intercept. What do we mean by intercept? So I'll explain this with the diagram here. Intercept simply means where a particular line touches the y-axis. So now this my line here touches the y-axis on this point. So this point here is the intercept of the line. So C is intercept, M is slope. What is slope? Slope is how steep the line is. So how do we calculate the slope of a line? So the slope of a line is calculated by getting 2 points, right? Getting 2 points, y1, right, and y2, and then getting another point, x2 and x1. So I'm going to use y is equal to m, m is equal to, all right, let me, y is, m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to calculate the gradient of the slope. So that's how we calculate gradient. So this is the slope-intercept form. So there is the 2-point form, which I've written down here, 2-point form. 2-point form simply means we have 2 points on each y and x axis. So we have both 2 points on the y and x axis. So we can say m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So there is also the 1-point form. All right, these are the equations of a line. 1-point form. So the 1-point form is y minus y1 is equal to m open brackets x minus x1. So the 1-point form simply means we know 1 point on the particular line. So we have a point on the particular line, that's the x and y, the x and y. So 2-point form means we have 2 points. 2 points on the line is known, the x1, y1, and then the y2, y1. Why the slope intercept form simply means we have both the slope and the intercept in the equation. So there is the last one, which is the general form of equations of the line, which is ax plus bx plus c equals 0. All right, so this is the general, right, y. Ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So this is the general form of equations of a line. So we have 4 equations written right here. The slope intercepts y is equals to mx plus c. The 2-point form, slope m is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. The 1 point m open brackets x minus x1. And then we have the general form, which is ax plus by plus c. All right, so from here, we are going to be taking working examples from the past questions. All right, so question, you can see it here on your screen. All right, so if you have this past question, you can just turn it and then we work together from here. So the first question is from question, all right, rather page 10, page 46, question 10. Page 46, question 10, it should be on your screen. So the question says the gradient of a line joining 2 points y comma 4, the gradient of the line joining 2 points. So this is point 1 y comma 4, and then the second point is 1 comma 2. So the gradient of the line joining these 2 points is 4. The gradient of the line joining these 2 points is 4. What does this mean? It means there is a particular line that has 2 points, which one of the coordinate of the point is y comma 4, and the coordinate of the second. So we have to find the value of y. So now from these equations here, I have on the right-hand side of the board, there is the 2 points form equation. When do we use the 2 points form equation? We use the 2 point form equation when we have 2 points of the line. We have 2 points known on the line. So here I have point 1, and then here I have point 2. So since I have point 1 and point 2, I can use the 2 point form to calculate the gradient. So m is equal to y2 minus y1. My m is 4. Y2 is 2. And then y1 is 4. Divided by x2 is 1 minus x1, which is y. So from here, I can say 4 is equal to 2 minus 4 minus 2 divided by 1 minus y. So here I can cross multiply, and I have minus 2 is equal to 4 open bracket 1 minus y. All right. So so yeah, I can open the brackets, or I can just the formula. But yeah, I prefer to go the easier way. So this will opening the bracket, I have 4 minus 4y. So from here, I can collect like terms. I have minus 4y is equal to minus 2 minus 4. Minus 4y is equal to minus 6. And then y is equal to 3 over 2. So the value of y is 3 over 2, which is option D. Yes, 3 over 2 is the same as 1.5. And then that is option D. So what did I do here? I used the equation, or the the I use the equation that works well with the question to solve for the value of y. And what equation works well with the question, the 2.1. We also have the value of x2 and the value of x1. So here I have to calculate the value of y because y is the unknown. I have my gradients, and what I did here is just simplify. So we'll move on to the next question. So the next question is page 70, question 15. All right, page 82, question 30. Page 82, question 30. The question says find the gradients Rather, find the equation of a line with gradient minus 2 passing through the points 1, 2. So we have to find the equation of a line with gradient minus 2 passing through the points 1, 2. All right, so we have a point 1, 2, and we have to find the equation of the line. So to find the equation of the line, how do we go about this? Here we have the gradient, and then we have the point. So here in this kind of question, we use the 1 point form to calculate the gradient. So in calculating the gradient, we have the formula y minus y1 is equal to m open brackets x minus x1. Why are we using this 1 point form? Because we only have one known point on the line. We only have one known point on the line with a gradient of minus 2. All right, so to calculate the equation of the line, we are going to use this uh, this equation format, y minus y1 so is 2, y the value of m is minus 2, x minus 1, because the value of x1 is 1. So here I'm going to simplify. Y minus 2 is equal to minus 2x minus 2 multiplied by minus 1 plus 2. All right, so I can collect like terms to make it look like this. So let's see the format of the question format. So I'm going to make minus 2x plus 2, bringing these to each other side to become plus 4, which is option A. So what they did here is they simply rearrange this to become y is equal to 4x plus 4, or you can rewrite it as y is equal to 4 minus 2x, which is option A. So what do you need to do when you have questions like this? You just need to have this at the back of your mind, all right? You pick the correct form for each of the questions. So what you need to do is you need to recognize the particular form that works for the question. Once you can recognize that, then you can start solving. So in the first question, we had to use the 2 point form, and in this current question, we use the 1 point form to solve for the equation of the line. So in the first question, we had to solve gradients to get the value of an unknown variable y. Why in this question, we used the 1 point form to solve the equation of a line. All right, so let's move to next example. Next example, question 7, page 70, question 15. Page 70, question 15. So this question says, calculate the distance between the points 4, 3 and 2, 1. Calculate distance between the points 4, 3 and 2, 1. So now, how do we calculate the distance between 2 points? So I'm going to give you the formula for calculating distance between 2 points right now, and I'll need you guys to write that down. So to calculate the distance between 2 points, we use a formula. So I'm going to write distance. So I'm going to represent distance with d. x1 plus x2, x1 minus x2 plus y1 minus y2 squared. All right, to calculate the distance of between 2 points, we use the formula x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. Or you can say x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. All right, so now in this question, we have to calculate the distance between 2 points, 4, 3 points. The first point is x1, which is 4, minus x2, which is 2 squared, plus what is y2? Y2 is 3 minus 1, all squared. All right, so this will become 4 minus 2, which is 2 squared, plus 3 minus 1 is also 2 squared. So here I have square root of 2 plus, square root of 2 is 4, plus 4, which is 8, is equal to square root of 8. And square root of 8 is um, 2 root 2. All right, so the distance between these 2 points is 2 root 2. How do we calculate the distance between 2 points? X1 minus x2 plus y1 minus y2 all squared. Then we find the square root of this. So square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus square root of y1 minus y2 squared to calculate the distance between 2 points. 2 squared, which is 4, plus 3 minus 1, which is 2 squared. So 4 plus 4 give me 8, 2 root 2. Actually, so the answer is 2 root 2, and then the correct answer is not in the question. The correct option is not in the question. So the answer to this question here is 2 root 2. So we are going to move to the next question. So in questions like this, you simply don't have any other option. So when you solve like this, you don't find the correct answer, you can just move to the next option. All right, so it might be a typographical error, but then you know this is how to calculate the distance between 2 points when you're in the exam hall. All right, moving to the next question. All right, still on that same page 70. So we did question 15. So I see a familiar question, a similar question to this question 4, page 70. All right, so we're going to work on that. So the question says calculate the distance between 2 points, 2,4 and 3,5. Calculate the distance between 2 points, 2,4 and 3,5. All right, so using the same formula, so we have 2 points. What are the 2 points? 2,4 and 3,5. All right, so yeah, we're going to do this. This is x1, y1. This is x2 and y2. All right, so x1 is 2 minus 3 squared plus what is the value of to become? This will become very simple. The distance between 2 points, you use the formula, and that is option B. Question 4, option B. All right, let's move to the next question. Page 93. Page 93, question 2. Page 93, question 2. Is equal to 3x plus 15. A straight line has the equation 10y is equal to 3x plus 15. Which of the following is true? Now, option A says the gradient is 0, 3. Okay, the gradient is 0.3 and the y-intercept is 1.5. B, the gradient is 3 and the y-intercept is 1.5. C, the gradient is 15 and the y-intercept is 3. D, the gradient is 1.5 and the y-intercept is 0.3. So what we can see in this question is they are asking us to find which is true from this equation of the line. And what they're asking us is the y-intercept and the gradients. So from this slope and intercept, we know that this is the y-intercept, ym is the gradient. So what we need to do is we need to represent this to look like this. We need to rewrite this to look like this. Since this y is not standing alone, we are going to make y the subject of formula. And how do we do it? We're going to divide by 10. All right. So I'm going to divide y by 10, divide all through by 10. All right. I'm going to divide all through by 10. So this is going to give me y is equal to 3 over 10x plus 15 over 10. So this will become y is equal to 3 divided by 10 is 0.3x plus 1.5. So now what is actually correct is the slope is 0.3 and the y-intercept is 1.5. So any of the option that has the slope as 0.3 and the y-intercept as 1.5 is the correct answer. So let's look at it together. Which of the option has the gradient as 0.3 and the y-intercept as 1.5? That is option A. The gradient or slope is 0.3, right? And the y-intercept is 1.5. So option A is correct. Option A is correct. So you see how we went about that. We simply we rewrote this equation to look like the slope-intercept form. So rewriting this particular equation in the question made it look like the slope-intercept form. And having that, we got this y is equal to 0.3x plus 1.5. And there we can now specify which is the slope or gradient and which is the y-intercept. All right. So I'm going to pick just one more question and then I'll give you questions that you can work on as exercise real quick before the end of the class. All right. So the question says that's question 3, same page, question, page 93, question 3. A line QP is the point 2,7 and Q is the point 6,3. What is the gradient of PQ? So we have 2 points. We have 2 points. Point P is 3,5. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Point P is 2,7. I was looking at another question. Point P is 2,7. And then point Q is 6,3. So we have points. So let me rewrite this. Point P is 2,7. 2,7. Y point Q is 6,3. All right. So now we have to find the gradient PQ. Now this is 2 point form. Why? Because we have point 1 and point 2 of a particular line. So we are going to use the 2 point form equation to find the gradient of the line. So M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now we have to label this is x1, y2. Y2 is 3 minus 7 divided by what is x2? X2 is 6 minus x1, 2. So here, 3 minus 7 is minus 4. 6 minus 2, right? 6 minus 2 is 4. So minus 4 divided by 4 is minus 1. So the slope or gradient of these 2 points, of the line passing through these 2 points is minus 1, which is option B. Question 3, option B. All right, so the question 4 and question 5 of this same page is what I want to give you guys as exercise. And I need you guys to work on it now and send in your solutions in the next 3 minutes. Question 4 and question 5. Question 4 and question 5. All right. All right, guys. I'm seeing your solutions. So let's work on it together. I've seen your solutions in the chat. All right. So let's work on the exercise together. So question 4 and question 5. So question 4 says point P 3, 5 and point Q is -1, 9. All right, -1, 9. And R is the midpoint. R is the midpoint of PQ. Is the midpoint lie on R. Okay, so the first thing we have to know is the midpoint between two lines. The gradient of that line will be same as the gradient of the two lines. So which means the gradient of PQ will be the same as the gradient of PR will be the same as the gradient of QR. So what do I mean? So firstly, I'll calculate the gradient of the line PQ. So to calculate the gradient of the line PQ, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what is y2? Y2 is 9 minus y1, which is 5, divided by x2 is -1 minus x1, 3. So this becomes 4 over -4. So if I divide 4 by -4, I'm going to have m is equal to -1. That's the first thing. I've gotten the gradient of this line. So the next thing I have to find is I have to find point R. I have to find what? Point R. Now, how do I find point R? Point R is the midpoint between P and Q. So how do we find the midpoint between two lines? Midpoint between two lines is x1 plus x2 over 2, comma x1 plus, sorry, comma y1 plus y2 over 2. All right, so the midpoints between two lines, x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma y1 plus y2 divided by 2. What is the value of x1? X1 is 3 plus x2 minus 1 divided by 2, comma y1 is 5 plus 9 divided by 2. All right, I'm going to continue from this other side of the board. So I have 3, the midpoint, 3 minus 1, 9, which is 14 divided by 2. So this becomes 1, comma 14 divided by 2, 7. So this is the midpoint R of these two lines, P and Q. This is the midpoint R between P and Q. So we've calculated M, which is the gradient, as -1. So now for me to find the equation of the line passing through or which lies on points R, we have to use the 1-point form. So what is the 1-point form? Y minus y1 is equal to M open bracket x minus x1. Now this becomes x1 and this is y1. So now I'm going to do y minus, what is y1? 7 is equal to M is the gradient, which is -1, open bracket x minus the value of x1, which is 1. So here I can simplify y minus 7 is equal to, if I open this bracket, I'm going to have minus x plus 1. So here I can collect like terms and I'll say y is equal to minus x plus 1. 7 is coming to this other side, -7 is coming to this other side, so this becomes plus 7. So this becomes y is equal to minus x plus 8. So here is the equation which lies on point R. This is the equation of the line which lies on point R. Y is equal to minus x plus 8. So on that particular question, the correct option is option B. Y is equal to minus x plus 8. Option B. So if you, okay, I think there's a typographical error in the question. So this is, it should be y is equal to minus x plus 8, not x plus 8. So it should be y is equal to minus x plus 8, which is the correct option right here. Y is equal to minus x plus 8. So what did I do? The first thing you have to do is to calculate the gradient of the two lines. Like I said, the gradient of the two lines, the gradient of the two lines will always be the same, regardless of any point you're picking from. So this is point P, this is point Q, and this is point R. So the gradient of this line will always be the same along the line. The gradient of this line will be the same along the line. So now the next thing after calculating the gradients is to calculate the midpoint. So calculating the midpoint was what I did here using the formula x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So if you've calculated the midpoint, you can now use the 1 point form to calculate the equation of the line. Y is equal to y1, which is 7, is equal to m, open brackets, x minus x1. So when you input the necessary values into this equation, y minus 7 is equal to minus 1, open brackets, x minus 1. You will evaluate and get this value, x equals to minus 8 minus x, y is equal to minus x plus 8, which you can rewrite as this. Y is equal to 8 minus x. All right. So let's work on the second question and then we can call it a day. The second question says a straight line has a gradient minus 2 and passes through the point 4, comma 1. So from this question, we can see that what we are going to use is the 1 point form. So a straight line has a gradient of minus 2. M is equal to minus 2. Passes through the point 4, comma 1. So M is equal to minus 2 and it passes through the point 4, comma 1. So using the 1 point form, y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1. So what is the value of this? Is x1, this is y1. Y minus y1 is 1 is equal to m, which is minus 2, open bracket, x minus 4. Y minus 1 is equal to, if I open this bracket, I'll have minus 2x minus 2 multiplied by minus 4 becomes plus 8. So here I can collect the like terms and say y is equal to minus 2x plus 8. Negative 1 is moving from this side to the right hand side, so this becomes plus 1. So if I sum this up, I'll have y is equal to minus 2x plus 9. Y is equal to minus 2x plus 9. So we can see in the question, actually in the question, the question is written in, the option C is written in the general form question, which we can write as y plus 2x minus 9 equals 0. So if I rewrite this, I'll have y equals to y, because this is coming to the left-hand side, this becomes y plus 2x, and this is positive coming to the left-hand side, minus 9 equals 0, which is option C. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next class.